Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Chad. We're bringing you guys another round of Dofi at game night. Again, this was the last round, but I ended up facing two Blackbeards, so I want to show you guys the Shanks match before I show you guys another Blackbeard matchup. I won the dice roll, so I chose to go second. Turn 2, I am able to establish Teach, and let's just say I drew the gas this game. He swings 6 at my leader, plays out a Sanji for 2, and passes it over to me. I'm going to start by using Teachability to place a card at the top of my deck. You are able to activate Teachability even if you have no Rested Don. You just place the card at the top. You just can't attach any Rested Don because there is none. But that does not matter to me. All I care about is adding the cards to the top of the deck. So I attach 3 Don to the leader because I'm planning on swinging and making sure that this goes through. So it's going to be an 8k swing to lead. If he uses leader ability, it reduces it to 7, which he will still need to give me 2 cards. So I do leader ability, plays out the Jinbei, and Jinbei will play out Weevil. The sequencing would work as Shanks gets to decide what to do his leader ability on, whether to use it on my Jinbei or my leader, and then once he resolves his leader ability, then Jinbei would, resolve, and I am able to establish the Weevil. So he chose to do leader. I mean, it doesn't make a difference because he doesn't have 2 Dawn up to use Gum Gum Red Hawk, so takes the life, and then I pass the turn over to him. Moose is on his 5 Dawn turn, which at this point he could establish, an ace or potentially a Marco. But at this point, he has to be able to take the pressure off the board, which is basically being able to get rid of the Jinbei at this point. So he taps 5, and he's gonna play out a Yasop. Yasop will give his leader plus 1,000 for the turn, and he's gonna swing 6 at, I believe, Jinbei. And I give him a 2k counter to save it. And here he uses his Sanji ability to give 2 Rested Don to the Sanji, takes a life, and gives him an extra 2k stat. So swing 7, clears the Jinbei, which is unfortunate. I did want to put more pressure on him this turn, so I'm on my 6 Don turn. I'm going to tap 4. I play out a Gecko Moria, which allows me to grab a Warlord from the trash, grab the Jinbei, use Teachability to place him at the top, give 2 Rested Don to my leader, and basically I gave myself another Weevil turn this turn. Another Jinbei turn since he was able to clear it. So swing 6 at the Sanji, and then now I swing 8 at his leader, establishing the Jinbei again. He uses it on my leader, and I play another Weevil off the Jinbei. So he gives me a 2k counter. I pass turn. At this point, I have all the pressure going on Moose. Barely gonna hit 7 Dawn. He's only got 3 life. At best, he only has Yasop. This Teach has been putting in work for me, being able to establish the Jinbei at the top of the deck each turn. Not only that, but having the Weevil to be able to draw after that is what's helping me a lot more here, because I am able to still have somewhat of a hand after Weevil hits the field. So a lot of pressure coming the Moose's way, and the 4-drop Gecko Moria. I know a lot of people have been dropping it down to a 2 of in the deck, but I like the card a lot. But I have been making cuts, changing the ratios in Dofi, getting ready for Nats. But here he's trying to put pressure. He swings and gets rid of the Weevil, which I decided not to counter and save it, just so I can have the counter to save something else. But would have been better to just save the Weevil at that point, but I would have been chucking a lot of counter at that point. So he establishes Lucky Roo, which is the worst thing to face or see in the Dofi mirror. So I swing 7 and I bounce, or not swing 7, but I tap 7 to play the 7-drop Dofi to bounce the Yasop back to hand to take pressure away from him. And I'm going to swing for just 5 here. I was hoping for him to just use leader ability potentially, or there was a chance that he played Lucky Roo, or not play, but block with the Lucky Roo and basically get rid of another body on the field. But here he's gonna counter, and honestly, I should have swung with the Gecko just to play over the Gecko, but I think I did it like this just because I didn't care if the Jinbei hits the field because I want to get it back. And here I am rushing because I should have put a card at the top because of the teachability, because I grabbed 2 Rested Dawn. And I decided to play over the teach because it didn't matter. I'd rather have the 5k body on the field. So I do use the law to bounce itself, to bounce the Lucky Roo back to hand, swing with the Gecko, get another swing in. He gives me the Lucky Roo as counter. Luckily for me, he chose not to block with it, because if he did, he could have KO'd the Weevil or the Gecko. Weevil would have been the more valid choice in the matter. But lucky for me, he didn't fall for it. Or he fell for my bait, to be honest. And at this point, he's in a pretty rough spot. He has a lot of cards in hand, but I believe he was bricked. He had a lot of his top end cards and none of his mid-game cards. But even if he did, you saw I've been bouncing the cards back to hand. And not only that, but double Jinbei to Weevil and just establishing multiple bodies because of the teach has been the reason why I'm winning this game here. So he chose to pop the Weevil with the minus 3k on from the Rayleigh and put minus 2 on the Gecko. And if he wants to, you could attach a Dawn and swing with his leader over the Gecko, or keep it up for a Rad Beam. But he wanted to see how many 2Ks I had in the trash. I believe I 2K to save the Jinbei because he wanted to swing at the Jinbei instead of the Gecko, which was fine with me. And I think at this point here, I'm going to just swing out. I forget how I do the math though. Oh, looks like I'm swinging 7 with lead. Leave 1 on there just so that I could utilize my leader ability. Yep, so I'm swinging 7. Use the ability. Plays out a Buggy. Buggy will let me look at the top 3 to reorganize the top 3. If Buggy was able to bottom deck the cards, he'd be so much better. But at best, you know, he's still a 2k counter that I can bounce with Law. So I do swing 7. He counters out, also using his leader ability. And this is where it makes it a little tricky, because I should have swung an extra on top, swinging for 8 to make sure that he gives me a counter. But I end up attaching 5, I believe. 6. No, so I swing for 8 there, swing for 7. And I'm going to swing 7 with the Dofi, and that's going to end up being game. If you guys like the concept, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below what you guys thought, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.